don't want to talk for a minute.
Okay.
Has he been comfortable?
Yes, yeah, he's had plenty of food and he's just been asleep mainly.
That's what he does when he's a cat. Bless him. It's not the best, is it? We've tried everything to get rid of it, haven't we?
Claude. Oh dear.
Where's that purr gone? Where's the purr gone? Not purring today. Okay. So what's happening then?
I've spoken to my boss, who agrees that we would normally offer you a second vet opinion anyway, and we would normally do that in interviews, so there's no reason why we can't skip a few paces and get that done for you today. However, I've spoken to Springwell Vets to get him booked in for me to take him down, and Patrick, the practice owner, is saying he doesn't feel the need to see Claude because he supports Michelle's decision. Patrick's basically said that he advised you a year ago to get Claude put to sleep then, and based on Michelle's decision today, he feels that is the right decision and he 100% supports it.
Well, okay. He didn't advise.
We didn't see him, did we?
We didn't see him.
No.
We saw someone else.
Yeah.
That's by and by.
I think he
They're
saw
saying
Christiana,
Yeah.
and I think it was given as an option.
it was given as an option,
Yeah.
exactly right. And we chose not to do that because he was happy.
He's
And
happy boy.
he's running about. However, that's them, this is them.
I don't want you to come away from this feeling that we are trying to murder your cat, because that is not what we're about. But
Is the impact, can you see? I mean, I know where you're coming from, we understand. But he's had another year with us.
Yeah. He's had
He's a
one
family
extra
which,
year.
which I think is nothing short miraculous. I can't.
Really?
Yes.
So you think
because
he's on his last legs?
Well, we know he's on his
We
last
always
legs.
have thought
We've,
that. But
one of our relatives has
can't
offered
let
us
him
another cat, and we said we'll take him in a month or two's time because we know he's a little road.
But we, in the animal world, we have the option of euthanasia, and I don't feel that it would be a premature decision in
No,
this
it's
case.
not now. It was going to happen in 3 or 4 weeks, a month, 2 months. We know that.
Yeah, if that. But
it
Once-
still keeps going. He's got the will there.
well,
Right.
it's likely to be a disease that's keeping him going.
Really?
If that makes sense. In that, if the cat has an overactive thyroid, they will be hyperactive but exhausted at the same time because their heart rate speeds up, their metabolism speeds up. They're on the go all the time because they can't, they just can't sit still. It's the excessive amounts of thyroid hormone just keep everything buzzing. So he might seem to be quite sprightly, but actually in reality, his organs are a bit worn out.
But
Well, of course
that's one, we don't know that for sure. That's
We
just
don't know
one.
that for sure. That is a suspicion. But if he doesn't have thyroid disease, then it is very likely that he probably has something more sinister going on to account for the fact that he's so thin.
He's always been thin.
No, I
He's always
accept.
been
I accept
very
that he's
thin.
always been thin, but
You never looked it because he had all this fur.
yeah. I mean, if
But
you
he's
look
always-
at the chart above you and the body condition scoring, he's probably less than 1, if that's possible.
Well, it's never been more than a 3.
Yeah.
And but he always looked like that because of his fur.
Because of his fur, and it is deceptive.
But he's
it's actually when you pick him up, when you lay your hands on him, you can see
don't-
how thin he is.
He is, but I don't think that's a deterioration in the last year. I mean, it really isn't.
Where's my baby? Eloise is desperately sad, you pickle.
So if we can agree that he needs to be put down, I would like to ask if he comes home for one more day so we can see him. Oh, one day, come on.
I just don't think it's fair on him. I understand completely why you want to have him at home, but it's for your benefit rather than his, and I have to think of his benefit. I have to think of his best interest. And I don't want to cause you distress because that is not what my job is about. But I just don't
want to cause him
no, but I really don't feel that it's in his best interest to do that.
But that's where opinions differ, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think for one.
You know my opinion and I know yours, and we're not agreed on it. But
no.
Unfortunately, I don't want to be officious about it. But I have the law on my side. I don't want to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. But I just would like you to see my point of view, and just, if you accept that you would want to take him home, but it would be for you.
My daughter maybe. I was under the impression he was still ours, but now I'm not so sure. So I don't think we've got any option, have we? There's no option, is there? The answer's no. So.
But I don't want to force you to do something. I don't. I know that I can, but I don't want to do it.
Is one more day really going to make that much difference?
That's not the point. That isn't the point.
Look at you. Are you listening to all this? Where's Baby Blue? She's at school. She misses you. Is she? Oh, I don't know. Say something then. Speak to us. Have you just had enough? What do you think? What do you think? Go on then, you're pleading. You're pleading for life. I don't know.
Well, you have to go and do it if that's what you want to do. I don't agree with it.
No, I don't agree with it at all.
I just don't think it would hurt him to let the kids see him. They won't do more dinner at home. You can even take him down Springwell tonight. It'll be the same day.
I think for me, obviously, that option's now out of your hands. Like Michelle says, is
There's no paperwork that suggested that though. I mean, it's just hearsay from you, isn't it?
I wouldn't lie about anything like this.
Well, I don't know what decision you're expecting from us, because if you're saying that you've seized him and he's no longer our property and you want to put him down, you're going to put him down. That's not going to be.
What happens is, if you two don't authorise that the vet can euthanise Claude, then there is an option of overriding that decision where I can go to the police and the police will authorise it for me, and they do it on a lawful ground. I think personally, as a pet owner myself, I think it's better for you two to make that decision. It makes it much easier to deal with the loss of a pet if you've made that decision. I know it sounds difficult, and I know that sounds bizarre, but I've lost animals myself, and it is much easier to cope with that grief of knowing that you've made that decision for the right reasons.
It's under duress, isn't it? So it's not really the same thing.
You've already said that you would be happy to take him
Well,
in 24 hours, so I think for the sake of 24 hours, why put yourself through that extra?
Because it's more of a goodbye thing for the children, really. As selfish as it sounds, that's how people cope with things, don't they?
Because I have children myself and I have lost pets, and I know, but I'm not unsympathetic. I know it's like
part of the family.
Yeah, they are part of the family, but neither of my children have said goodbye in any way to my cats when they've been put to sleep. It's just been a case of they've gone, and they're surprisingly accepting. Yes, you'd be surprised actually. They do, you know, after the initial sort of grief, it is accepted. I mean, they're a bit younger, admittedly. You know, they're 8 and 5, and children of that age do deal with grief in a slightly different way. But
my daughter's hitting teenage, and so she
yes.
thinks she knows best.
Yes,
and
well,
it's the
well,
house is just
yes.
from time to time.
And there probably will be some. Yes, there'll undoubtedly be tears. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're in charge of the household, then
That's the only one.
it's And you know, I've never really sort of involved my children in the decision making because
of course not.
they're too young.
But I
for
feel
one
that
thing,
as
and
they're
I-
older,
yeah.
and they should have. She's desperate. She's
But
just so wants to see him.
but ultimately, it may be more distressing because then you've got to take him away. You know,
I think she'd like to come
In the
down
tw-
with
in the
us, to be
24
honest, don't
hours.
you?
Yeah,
I don't know if she's cope with that.
we haven't got that option, so just get it done. Is that the end of this?
What happens once he's been euthanised, once he's been put to sleep, is I'll need to come and speak to you both, and I need to do a formal interview. As the owners of the cat, you need to have questions put to you about the care of the cat. I've tried to record everything that's been said today, so I'll try and put that conversation to you.
What's happening after that?
Once I've interviewed you, I submit the case file to my head office, and then they decide where we go with this. There's 3 possible outcomes to the investigation. First one's no prosecution, where they decide an offence hasn't been committed and we won't take the matter any further. Second one is an adult written caution, where they decide that an offence has been committed but it's not in the public interest to prosecute. And the third one is where they consider that this is quite a high level of neglect, and then they will look at taking you to court. But that,
And what does that do? What does the court think? What would happen?
if you do get taken to court, the possible outcomes to a court hearing could be disqualification, which means that you would be prevented from having, owning, keeping, transporting or selling any animals at all.
Forever?
It depends on the court. They can either specify all animals or they can just specify a particular type of animal, so a cat or a dog, and they can specify length of time. So it could be anywhere from 5 years up to a lifetime disqualification. You can also end up with a fine and potential imprisonment. Imprisonment's very rare, but because it's being dealt with in a magistrate's court, that is an option. The magistrates do have that option.
That's very extreme when you have a family, isn't it?
It is
Could you
extreme.
imagine?
I want to give you all the information about what could happen with a possible court hearing. I'm not saying that is what will happen. I'm just saying
No, but
that
you're going
is.
through the motions for that to happen, you know.
I think with anything I have to investigate, and what I say when I deal with most of these is let's take it step by step. I think that is so far down the line that there's no point in worrying about that. I think the main consideration is what happens with Claude today.
Of course there's worrying about that. You're threatening us with
I
criminal records.
honestly don't mean
For
to
giving
come
that cat
across
one more
as though I'm
year of
threatening
life.
you. I really don't mean to come across as though I'm threatening
Well,
you.
that's all it is, I'm afraid.
I am trying to give you all the information so you've got all the information at hand, and I'm not saying to you, you know, I want to take you to court and I want to prosecute you and I want to get a disqualification, but you asked me what could happen, and that is a possible outcome. You know, the possible outcome is also it could be an adult written caution which won't involve court and it won't involve disqualification, or it could be a no prosecution where head office have said, you know, there's no case to answer here. But
It depends what information they get to make that decision.
Exactly.
Obviously, you've given us Springwell's latest report, but he's been with him since he was a kitten. So the whole factor of his weight, his matting, that will all be in that file.
Yeah, I mean,
I am frustrated now because that's how he's ended up. He's our little raggy bagpuss because he won't be groomed. He won't allow it.
I mean, you said to me yesterday that you wanted everything to be taken into consideration. If you agree that I can have access to your vet history at Springwell, then they can provide me with copies of everything.
Provide it straight away.
Well, they won't provide it to me because I'm just a member of public, and like you quite rightly said, that's your information.
Well, I'm not happy that the last report has been
But do you not
Yeah,
feel
that
that's
was
that,
since-
do you not feel that's been helpful in the decision making in terms of?
Well, not to me, because I know it anyway.
Mm.
It's information that you didn't have a right to.
Whereas his life is
It's, it's over.
it's
It's
over,
finished.
isn't it? That it's had to end it on a bad note. Mm.
And if you're interested in animal cruelty, the person that keeps ringing you up about Claude's got 3 cats like that, one of which is never allowed out of the house. Perhaps you should have a look there.
Indeed. You might start ringing.
Any concerns that you've got about any other animals, you can
Well, I've
report
just
straight
made them.
away.
Keep ourselves
I've
to
reported
ourselves.
them to you. Let's say I've reported them to you. There are 3 cats in that house that are obese, and one is never allowed out of the house.
Okay, I can go and deal with that on another day. Obviously, I'm here with Claude now.
I want Eloise to come
No,
down.
can't happen.
Because she
No, it
is
can't happen.
absolutely...
Well, that's it.
Well, after school.
No, it's not going to happen now.
Oh. Sorry. Oh, I won't get over it then. That's not my
Neither will I.
decision.
If you won't give us 24 hours, then you won't. So, let's get on with it.
Do you want to be here when it's carried out?
No, I don't.
Do you need Mr. and Mrs. Burns to sign a consent form?
You have to sign the consent
I'll
form.
sign a consent form. Okay.
I can't believe you said that.
What? What choice?
That's not right.
If you can get the police in to have him put down under law, then you're really in for it. So, you haven't got any choice. There's 60,001 animals that RSPCA killed this year.
Oh dear. I don't know. I can't decide. Look at you. Why won't you groom yourself? Cheeky.
What I'll do is, if I give you the weekend, and then I'll phone you next week to arrange to come in and speak and do that
I
interview.
don't want any interview unless it's going to be with a solicitor involved.
That's absolutely fine.
I will get you both to sign it actually.
So the second
I'd like
opinion
to sign
came.
this first. That's
Over a
the
phone
owner.
call. Can you write notes on it saying that we're not happy?
Yeah, I've tried to keep notes throughout the whole conversation.
I'm not happy. I don't want to sign
Okay.
it. I can't. I'm not consenting. I can't believe. I can't believe it.
I'll write notes as well.
But I'm not consenting because I'm trying to be cruel. I'm consenting
No,
because
no, I understand. Yeah, yeah.
of family issues.
Yeah.
I want to do nothing to hurt this animal. Nothing. No purr.
On the back.
I think you know, don't you? There's nothing going on in there. Yeah? Really?
Mr. and Mrs. Bell.
Lovely.
Once Claude's been put to sleep, the body will have to remain with the RSPCA during the investigation, but there's no reason why you can't have his body back once the conclusion of the investigation. If you want it back for cremation or burial.
What?
You can
You want it
think
back?
about it.
You want
Come
it
on,
back?
don't make such rash decisions.
Well, if you want it back, you
For
can.
sake. I don't know what I don't know how where we go from there. Can you do it later after school and I'll bring my daughter down? No. I want to be there.
Okay. If you're going to do it now,
Is it now?
What sort of time would it be after school?
I'm foolish. When I can get her. Because I don't think she'll ever forgive me.
I don't think it's appropriate. I honestly don't. I genuinely feel for you,
rubbish.
and I know it's a difficult situation. I think we tried we tried to work with you last night, we keep Claude overnight. That's not the usual procedure, and I know that's not what you want to hear. But I think we've tried to
But
give
we
you
tried to come
time.
and see him last night and we were told that we couldn't, but we should have been able to.
But I did explain to you last night on the phone that Michelle and I weren't going to be here after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. But
I did explain to you that to you. I didn't say to you that you couldn't have come down, but when I eventually got hold of you after an hour and a half of trying to get hold of you,
yeah.
you then said you were unable to come down before 5 o'clock.
It's
I
not my
appreciate
sole
that.
decision. Yeah,
I
know.
appreciate that.
Okay, you've made a compromise, but I'm just asking for one more thing. Because of my daughter, I think she will just, I don't think she'll deal with it. I don't think she will. I think she'd be better to see him.
But do you not think it might make the situation worse? That's the flip side of it.
Well, I think she should
Is
be able to
that-
say goodbye. She might not be in the room when it's happening, but I think she just needs closure with him.
I think it's just going to cause her more distress. I mean, I don't know your daughter
No, I
obviously,
know.
but just based on my past experiences with teenage girls in particular and their experiences of losing a pet, actually, I feel that it causes more distress. And I'm not just saying that, I do
No,
genuinely.
that's your opinion.
Yeah, I do genuinely
You
think.
do this more than I see. it
Well,
happen.
yes, unfortunately I do, and I do feel that it's more distressing.
Okay. That's
I mean,
nothing I can say.
If she wanted to come and talk to me, I'd be happy to talk things through with her, but
Yeah,
if
that
would
might
help.
probably would help then. That's the compromise, isn't it? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take Claude back into that room. Okay.
Just go.
I just want to, if she does want to come and chat then,
After school.
yeah, then that's fine. I'll be here at 5 this evening.